What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. Your host here, Elijah, and we're here today with another episode. I made good on my promise. 2 episodes a week. I'm recording here on Sunday. So we're just going to get into it. I got a couple topics. It's kind of a slow day because there's still a big weekend of baseball, obviously, with the holiday weekend, Memorial Day tomorrow when this episode is dropping. Big games happening this weekend between like the Mets and the Dodgers. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then obviously there's just a lot of ball happening today, a lot of daytime ball. A lot of stuff happening, but nothing has come fully to fruition yet. I'm a little bit early. And that's kind of been one of my like hindrances from wanting to record on Sundays, because a lot of ball happens on Sunday and it's good to talk about it on Monday, but it hasn't really worked out that way. So we're going to give this a shot. We're going to record today, but definitely still some stuff to talk about that's popped out since our last episode on Thursday. But plenty to talk about. Like I said, we're going to start off with something that I've been kind of holding off on talking about. It's been on my thought process here for a little bit. And obviously with the firing of their manager, the second firing this year, in addition to the Pirates manager earlier, we're going to be talking about the Orioles, Baltimore Orioles, who are, as funny enough, I turned on my MLB TV, and they're the first game. They're happening today at 12. In about 6 minutes, they're going to be having the first pitch against the Red Sox. So we're going to talk about the Orioles, who were in the hunts of, who really choked, honestly, in the first round of the playoffs last year. And then that kind of disappointment just kind of, I guess, carried over into this year, to say the least. They are currently, I think they're, this article says they're 15 and this article says they're 15 and 30. I think it's worse than that now. That was a couple of days ago. 17 and 34. They're currently in last place, if I'm not mistaken. I want to pull up some standings so I can fact check myself here. They are currently sitting in last place. They are 14 games behind the Yankees, who are in first, and about, I want to say, like 7 or 8 games behind the Blue Jays, who are currently sitting in front of them at 25 and 26. So not even remotely close. But here's the thing, right? So talking about the Orioles, and obviously it's no secret that they fired their manager earlier this year. Rightfully so. I mean, shit, with the amount of talent that they have, I know they've got some pitching gaps, but they have a lot of offense, which is strange, considering. Let's see here. Yeah, and I wanted to say that, and I hate saying it because, again, we're in May. There's still time to right ships at this point in the year. I mean, you start getting to July, it's kind of like, yeah, it might be a little late, but there's still, like, you have all of June. You can have a really great June and have a really great July and just compound those 2 months and really head into August with something that you can really make a run for. It's, what a lot of teams have done. That's not unheard of. Obviously, the Braves, who started off the season horrifically, have made a big stride, and we're going to be talking about them a little bit later with Ronald Acuna Jr.'s return, and he's off to a crazy start. But again, that's another team who had a dismal start and really turned it on, and they've really righted that ship, and they're on the right track. So like I said, it's hard to say whether these guys are going to be like just absolutely horrible. They are far behind, I will say that, 14 games back from first place, and then obviously you got about, I want to say probably about 8 games back from the team in front of you. It's a tough ride. But I found this article from Yahoo, wanted to kind of talk about it. I've seen it multiple points. I've heard it from MLB. I've heard it from Bleacher Report. I've heard it from, The Athletic. Everyone's saying that the Orioles are the most disappointing team in baseball this year. And people are probably like, what do you look at the Rockies, look at the White Sox? Well, the White Sox were bad last year, and the Rockies haven't been worth a shit in a while. So it's not shocking that they're bad, right? For a team that was touted in 23 and 24, 23 was a down year for them, but you saw the potential with Gunnar Henderson, and then they knew they had Jackson Holliday, and then they have Adley Rutschman, they got Colton Cowser, they've got a lot of guys, man. They got some decent dudes that you knew, like, hey, man, they got some guys that are up and coming, right? Obviously, Jackson Holliday came up, and they actually, they brought him up. I think, honestly, when they brought up Jackson Holliday, I thought that was a little bit premature. I think it was last year they brought him up, and he didn't do well. I think it took him a while to get any hits, and that was a big. Obviously, he's a first round pick. So obviously, it was highly touted that he was going to be like this superstar, and unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. They sent him back down, then brought him back up, and he wasn't an everyday starter last year, and it was kind of weird. Then this year, he broke out with the club, and again, you don't hear a whole lot from him. It's not like he's not a bust per se, but he's not like performing, I think, where they thought he would be performing, basically. But here's kind of a quote. This is from Joe Roeder of Bleacher Report again. I remember I just noted that. So the Orioles are the most disappointing team in baseball, sliding to the bottom of the AL East standings after winning 192 games over the last 2 years. That's what I'm saying. 92. That's a lot of wins. And over the last 2 years while making back-to-back playoff appearances. Again, Brandon Hyde was fired last Saturday, and they have the worst minus 85 run differential in 45 games. So it's pretty tough. And if you don't know what the run differential is, it's 14-31. So meaning that their record of 15-30 at this point is only fourth worst, which I mean behind Colorado, but still it's not good. I mean, it's not good. It's really not good. At one point they were losing like 7 in a row. You know, I mean, sorry, drinking. By the way, if you haven't, I've been posting this all over my Instagram. These new tonic drinks by Chris Williamson of Modern Wisdom are phenomenal. Not crazy on caffeine, but they are amazing nootropics inside those. So I'm just locked in here. But again, and the thing that's sad about this, right, is they have. Let me pull up the roster here before I kind of get into my thoughts on this whole thing. And I don't really talk about a lot of the Orioles much. You know, it's kind of not something I really talk about because it is what it is, right? Let me pull up the stats here. That's what I want to see. All right, again, so I'm going to go through some of these names here. And again, some of these guys, I'm like, hey, man, like, what the hell, right? So you got Tyler O'Neill, who's bounced around a bit. Ryan Mountcastle played with them for a bit. Kierstad, Adley Rutschman, Ramon Laureano, who's kind of bounced around a bit. Jackson Holliday, Ryan O'Hearn, Gunnar Henderson, Cedric Mullins, who I think is vastly underrated and will be paid soon. Yeah, and they have Gary Sanchez is even out here. I didn't even know Gary Sanchez was over here. Jesus. But yeah, so obviously Colton Cowser, I mentioned him earlier. So let's see. Why is there a pitcher? Why is there a pitcher under the hitting? That's weird. Okay. Let's go off of standard. I just kind of want to pull up some stats here. So Cedric Mullins right now batting .225, low, but he's more of a defensive guy, so I'll say that. Gunnar Henderson's batting .263, which is below his normal. He's known to show a lot of power. He was in the home run derby last year. Down year so far for him, but again, not bad for him. But again, baseball, it's one guy. Ryan O'Hearn's batting .315, not bad. 905 OPS having a season. Jackson Holliday batting .270, again, not bad. 6, not bad. Adley Rutschman, .214, so he's struggling at the plate big time. Kierstad, .202. Westberg, who's a good third baseman for them, .217. Ryan Mountcastle, .227. O'Neill, $188. Ramon Urias, .274. Colton Cowser, $125. So yeah, not the greatest. I kind of had another article here. Hold on, let me find it real quick. I know I had it here. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I had it. I'm pulling up. Loading. Why are we not loading? Okay, here we go. So the offensive production's been bad. So I took some notes here. So Orioles' offense has been ineffective. Obviously, they're ranking 21st in OPS, which is not good. 4th in runs scored. 6th in on-base percentage. Adley Rutschman, like we just noticed, has underperformed. He batted .369 in his first 2 seasons. And combined, right, obviously. Yeah, not good. Pitching, yeah, that's the other thing. So we're going to get into pitching here next. Obviously, that's not something we're not going to talk about, right? A lot of injuries. Obviously, Kyle Gibson, and he's got a 16.78 ERA over 4 starts after being released. That's horrible. The bullpen has been awful, even though they got Bautista back. But 8.89 ERA during a recent stretch. For a bullpen that you can't win games like that. Obviously, got rid of Hyde, so they're hoping that changes the kind of the structure around there. But yeah, just notably, no bad pitching and no hitting from your stud guys is going to hurt, right? So obviously Dean Kremer's been there a bit. He's got a 5.50 ERA. Charlie Morton, who's bounced around Houston, Atlanta, who's been around a bit. He's up there in age a little bit. He's 7.68. Let's see, game started. I want to see game started. Zach Eflin, who hasn't been horrible, but again, a 5.4 ERA, not good. Bautista, who came back and, after his Tommy John thing a couple years ago. 402, not good. Kyle Gibson, they released him at 16.78. That ain't going to play, dude. It's not going to play. I mean, I've yet to see a guy here with a decent ERA that's logged significant innings besides Baker and Aiken, who have, Baker 2.01 ERA and then Aiken 3.03. It's hard, man. It's hard to, obviously the only guy who's got a decent amongst their qualified starters here is going to be Cade Povich, who I've never heard of. And he's got a 4.86. So, I mean, it's just bad, right? It's just not good. From a powerhouse team to where they are now is why everyone's saying that they're the most disappointing team in the game right now. And rightfully so, right? You expect them to come out with the same momentum they've had, and they just haven't had it. And what worries me about this, right? Because obviously when clubs, if you don't know, I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit. When clubs like this have years like this, who have showed, they got star power, they've got this, they've got that, and then they just don't put it together. You saw it already. They fired the manager. I don't know why my mic keeps spinning. Anyway, so, you see that, they've already pulled the trigger on firing Hyde, who's been good. Obviously, that's the shitty thing is like you saw it with the Sheldon over in Pittsburgh. You saw it with Hyde in here now. They fired them anytime, and it's shitty because you're not the one performing, but you do carry the culture in the clubhouse, right? It's tough, but anytime a team struggles this bad, obviously Colorado and Chicago were kind of different stories. I think they knew they were going to be bad, so you can't really put that all on the manager. But in situations like this, anytime something like this happens, it's always going to go on the manager. It's always going to go on the manager. He will always be the first to go. And I hate that it happens that way, but it will always be that way because it's like if a company's failing, right? If a company is not being, productive, or you look at it from a different point of view, you kind of put it in like real world analogies, right? If a company's bad or a department's doing bad, who do you look at? The boss. If it may be a culture change, maybe somebody needs to change something up. It's like, okay, well, these guys are not playing well. These guys are not being productive. He's got to go. And then they get rid of him, and then hopefully the thing will change. City, because again, especially in this kind of thing, it's like not even a work environment, right? We're playing ball. It's shitty. But again, most disappointing team so far. It's kind of like just sad to see because it's like there's so much, right? There's so much potential, right? But moving on, hopefully, again, I'm watching them now. They got a runner on. No, they got 2 outs here against Buehler. Buehler, obviously a great pitcher. I'm watching it now. It's like there's just so much potential. It just hurts to watch, right? Anyway, I'm gonna distract myself watching this game. Next on my list, we have the Phillies. I haven't talked about the Phillies hardly at all this year. Mostly because they're one of those teams, at least for the next couple of years, they're always going to be good. And there's really always going to be a lot of things. The one thing I will say, and I noted it last week, that's going to hurt them is the Jose Alvarado. I think that's his name, Jose. I know the last name's Alvarado. I think it's Jose. Was busted for PEDs, or supposedly PEDs. I heard he was taking a weight loss drug, which increased testosterone, which then obviously is a banned substance. You can't be injecting testosterone. And he has an 80-game suspension, and when he does come back, he will be ineligible for postseason play. That sucks. Hurts their bullpen because he was a clutch guy in big situations. He's pitched in a lot of big moments for them so far this year. So to lose him for 80 games is going to suck. He'll come back for a little bit, and then when it really comes down to it, they're not going to have him again. So crappy. I mean, the weight loss thing, I'm like, man, just lose some weight. Just eat better, right? I mean, you have the best of the best. Eat better. I mean, why do you need a weight loss drug? Never understood that. Talking about the Phillies, they are going for their 12th straight win. I know they're playing the Athletics. I actually caught a bit of the game last night. I usually have my MetaQuest in here. Hadn't used my MetaQuest in a really long time. I just hadn't really gotten into it. I've been trying to limit my blue light, so it's kind of blasting blue light right in your eyeballs. But decided to give it a spin yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to watch a baseball game. I hate that on a lot of holiday weekends, games are played in afternoon games earlier in the day, so there wasn't a whole lot of night games. Obviously, there was 2 last night. I think it was the Angels had a night game, and then the Phillies were playing in Sacramento, so they're going to have that night game. Caught a bit of it. Phillies look strong, man. Obviously, Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Alec Bohm, they're a strong team. Sanchez did not have it on the bump last night. He didn't. I don't know if he made it. I turned it off after the third when it was a tie ball game 2-2, and then it actually went into extras, which is crazy. I saw the highlights this morning. But yeah, kind of wanted to take a second to talk about the Phillies, man. The Phillies are one of those teams that they're always going to be there. I didn't think they showed up last year in the postseason, and then in 23, they got bested by the Diamondbacks, which was crazy, huge. And that was like one of those series where it's like underdog moment, right? You're like, oh my god, Bryce Harper and all these guys, big time against these low level Diamondbacks, right? I mean, you got guys like Alec Thomas in reflection against like Bryce Harper and all these big dudes who'd never seen it was a big like David and Goliath story. I remember the Phillies had taken like a 2-0 lead and they were like not taking batting practice before games, and that's kind of when Brandon Pfaadt like made his break into the league and he was electric, and it was just a lot happening, right? It was really fun to watch. And then last year the Phillies kind of just did not show up in that playoff run. But this year seems to be different. They have a different energy. I was watching them yesterday. Obviously, Aaron Nola's on the IL. He skipped a bullpen session recently, so they don't have him. So pitching right now, kind of similar to the Dodgers, seems to be the Phillies' Achilles heel. I'm going to pull up some of their stuff here. I haven't really done any deep dives on their roster. I know we all know offensively they're strong. Zach Wheeler's a staple in that rotation, who he's been dealing. And like I say, Tajon Walker's been kind of making some spot starts. Normally have Ranger Suarez. I haven't seen anything. I don't know if he's hurt, but I'm going to double check. So obviously hitting right now, I mean, these batting averages are stupid, right? Kyle Schwarber, who's a little bit under right now, 255. Harper, 273. Kepler, 233. Took Mason Miller yard last night. Realmuto struggling. Realmuto's been one of the guys that's really been on a kind of a skid here. He's batting 238. Alec Boehm, 267, not bad. Castellanos, 275. Bryson Stott, 263. Trey Turner, who's just going off, 304. Marsh, 209. Rojas, who's not known for really much for his bat, but for his defense, he's batting 253. Cody Clemens, who's also a Philly, crazy enough. He hasn't gotten any hits. I don't even think he's batted, has he? He's at 6 at-bats. Crazy. All right, let's look at pitching, because obviously we know, just going off that alone, that offense is the strength here. They put that together. Luzardo's the other guy, 195. Dude, going off, right? Zach Wheeler, 6-1. Luzardo, 5-0. So, Luzardo with a 1.95 ERA. Zach Wheeler, 2.42. Christopher Sanchez, another guy who had an off night last night, but still, even with those Rays, what happened yesterday, he's only at 3.17, so he's been dealing. Aaron Nola's the one that has not shown up well this year. He's at a 6.16. He's 1-7, just has not shown up. Yeah. And then Tajon Walker, 2.97. So if they can get, obviously Matt Strom's going to be one of their deep guys. Jose Alvarado right there. He had a 2.7 ERA. He had 20 games. That's going to hurt. Romano's been really hit or miss, obviously coming over from where do you go? Oh, Toronto. I don't know why I had such a brain fart there. Mr. Afro, Mr. Jordan Romano, who has not shown up well, has not played that great. 8.05. He's got 21 games, but he's one of those guys you're going to have to keep throwing him out there, especially now with the hole with Jose Alvarado. And then Ranger Suarez, who's only started 4 games this year. He had a 3.7. I think he's hurt. Yeah, he hasn't pitched. He pitched on 5/22. Oh, no, he pitched on 5/22. Why is he so low? Was he hurt? I want to see a game log here. May 4th, May 10th, May 16th. Was Ranger Suarez hurt? Why is his inning so low? Huh. Well, he threw 7 against Cleveland on 5/10, then on 5/16 threw 7 against Pittsburgh. Another great start. And then against Colorado, 6 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. So showing his next start will be on the 27th. Which is on Tuesday. So we're going to see that. Another guy who's strong for them. He's had a lot of great performances there. Okay, I don't want to see Ranger Suarez anymore. Enough with Ranger Suarez. Jesus. And then kind of looking in the bullpen, obviously McAble, who came in and dueled against Paul Skeens, who showed up with 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 9 strikeouts in a debut. Come on. So they got this guy on deck, right? So there's depth in the starting rotation, which they have a lot of options once they get Nola back. Once, I guess, I'm assuming something happened to Ranger Suarez. I don't want to take a break and kind of dig into all that right now. Then you got McAble, but on the bullpen, you really have only Orion Kirkering, Jose Ruiz. I'm assuming they're going to start moving some of these guys to the bullpen to kind of solidify a 4 to 5 man starting rotation. But again, the Phillies are one of those teams you just got to look out. They're dealing with a couple things here and there, but again, watch out for the Phillies going again today, going for their 12th win. And if they get that 12th win, they're going to deal the Athletics their 11th straight loss. Interesting stuff, guys. Interesting stuff. Now, to talk about the Braves. I know we talked about the Braves a little bit earlier this year for a lot more negative reasons than we are now. Hold on, guys. Let me pull up some of my notes here. Let me see. Take a little swig of this. All right. So obviously there was a lot of drama earlier for multiple reasons with the Braves. Why do I need Southern Careers Institute? Why is that here? USA Today, I swear, with the most ads ever. Doing the most. Anyway, so beginning of the year, I thought, and a lot of people thought, the Braves have been strong the last couple of years. Especially with Chris Sale busting out of his, whatever he had going on in Boston. He just wasn't really there. Comes to Atlanta. They're thinking he's a 3-4 guy. Turns out to be a stud. Cy Young talks. I mean, damn, right? And then this year show up and they just were nowhere to be found. The lights were on. No one's home. They had one of the worst losing streaks. It took them like 2 weeks into the season to get a win. It was not good. It was not good by any means. Since then, the Braves have really turned it on. And, I think they were missing quite a bit of people. Where are the Braves? What's the record right now? So the Braves are currently 25-26, which at one point they were like 5-17 or something like that. So that's a huge improvement, almost at 500, which is crazy. They got the Padres today at 3:00. It's going to be a tough game for them, obviously. But kind of moving away from all that. So the drama with them was, number one, they started horrifically. We're missing Ronald Acuna, who tore his ACL last year. Didn't have Spencer Strider either. But though they did have some really big, replacements. I guess Schwellenbach was doing really well. Chris Sale. So they had some decent pieces there. Obviously, they signed Jurickson Profar, who was another guy who was busted for PEDs, who's going to be gone for 80 games and will also be out for playoff contention. Just crazy enough there. He was the first one. That was about a month ago. And that was kind of adding insult to injury at the time because they hadn't even busted out of their slump yet. And he got suspended. Crazy. But so on top of that, putting the record and all that shit aside, they didn't have Ronald Acuna. Something, and I don't remember the specifics, so if you know, put it in the comments. I don't remember the specifics of what happened, but it had to do with somebody not hustling out of the box. And Ronald Acuna, from his couch, I'm assuming, or wherever he was, took offense that man or that player was not benched. Went to Twitter and was like, if that was me, I would have been benched, which I think he's had obviously issues with that in the past. That's happened. He's been benched for not, giving full effort, whatever. So took shots at Brian Snitker for whatever reason. I don't, and they talked about it on MLB Network a couple days ago or about a week ago when they were kind of talking about his return. That was something that was talked about. Listen, I think Ronald Acuna Jr. is a great ball player. I think he's a great ball player. I think he's got a big mouth to say something like why, right? Why would you bring that up? It didn't make any sense. And then goes with this half-ass apology, right? Like, I was upset that I was hurt. I was upset. So you take a shot at your manager on Twitter? Make it make sense. And that was something that irritated me because I'm like, you're already, and again, I don't know these guys. He plays with a lot of energy. He plays with a lot of swag. He has a lot of emotion in the game, which is characteristic of him. It's not new. But again, that does rub me the wrong way of him. Like, why? But anyway, dude comes back. He's on fire. A big ignition for the Braves, I think. He comes in his first at-bat, hits an absolute bomb against the Padres, no less. Just an absolute tank, and he's hit one, I think, in every game he's been back. So, crazy enough. But, and then hits the grenade celebration with, like, Ja Morant, which is kind of funny. So he deleted the post. This is the thing. It's on the article here. He deleted a post and issued an apology to Snitker and his team, admitting he was frustrated from being away from the team. That doesn't make no sense. That's a saving face. I was frustrated with my situation in the sense of my being able to return to the team. I'm coming off a second major injury. I'm in Florida away from my teammates. The team is struggling. Those were sort of the feelings that were frustrating me. So you take a shot at your manager? Make no damn sense. But anyway, It's going off. So the Braves, again, look like they're cooking. Something's cooking over in Atlanta. I think it'll be interesting to see what we've got going on over there in the next couple weeks. Again, congrats to Ronald Acuna Jr. making his return, but maybe stay off Twitter. Maybe don't get on Twitter very much. Next on my list, and this is something I've been wanting to talk about. I had an absolute meltdown on Friday night, and then kind of had a mini meltdown again yesterday, though I didn't watch the game. And I've got some opinions on this. So Torey Lovullo, I've been watching. Like I said, I've been doing a lot more. I've been kind of finding myself more and more wanting to watch Diamondbacks games. I think they have a likable lineup, and they're fun to watch. Scrappy ball club. Acquired Corbin Burns. I've talked about it before, but here's my question, and I'm in a Diamondbacks group chat with some guys on Twitter. And I was kind of poking the bear with some of these guys who have been longtime Diamondbacks fan. I feel like I'm new coming in here, but I'm a fan of the game, so I can talk ball with them enough. And I was so I watched the game Friday. They had the Cardinals this weekend. Of course, they've dropped both. They have them again today. I don't know the time of the game. It's going to hurt me to watch them. Though the Cardinals are on a heater right now, I will say that. They're doing pretty solid. So Zach Gallen pitches Friday. I like to watch Zach Gallen's games. Been a fan of his for a while. I like to catch his and Corbin Burns specifically. So here's the thing, right? I'm going to kind of give a background here. If you look at the stats, statistically speaking, Zach Gallen does better with Herrera catching him. And I like a personal catch. I think it's the same with last year when Garrett Cole wanted to pitch to Jose Trevino until they didn't. They kind of took that away and Wells took over full time. But this is not something new where pitchers have preferred catchers. Everyone does it, right? I remember when I was in junior college, we had 3 catchers. I wanted my buddy Mitch to catch me every single time. Didn't matter. I didn't care what it was. Mitch was catching me. And that's kind of how things are in the big. It's all the way through. Guys have preferred catchers, right? So it's statistically, I think Zach Gallen's ERA with Herrera catching him is like in the 2s, right? Zach Gallen's ERA, and I know Gabby Moreno is a better ball player offensively. I think he's got some flaws defensively, but he's very much on fire with the stick right now. With Gabby Moreno catching Zach Gallen, it's like an 8 or like a 750, right? It's not good. So he pitched against Colorado last week. What the hell is this? Pitches against Colorado last week and gets absolutely rocked. I think he had like 6 home runs in one game. It was bad. And then I think they ended up losing that game in like a football score. So kind of crazy, right? So he goes out, he's pitching against on Apple TV, right? He got the game, right? But number one, some of the things that are said on the Apple TV broadcast are just, I don't know. I'm disagreeing with a lot of the stuff they say, but I'm just going to keep rolling through that. So I'm watching the game. Zach Gallen is fucking nails through 5 innings, right? Through 5. Nails. I mean, everything's working. He's getting pitches. The umpire was dog shit Friday night. I'm going to be 100% honest on both sides. He was horrible. I think Miklos was throwing for St. Louis, and it was a pitcher's duel through 5. I think the only thing that they had going in, I think there was a 1-0 lead, and it was Ketel Marte hit a home run in like the second or third, right? So it was a 1-0 lead all the way through. Fast forward to the 6th inning, Gallen walks a guy. But here's the thing already. Zach Gallen this year has not been the Zach Gallen we saw in 23 and 24. 23 and 24 hasn't been that guy. Struggles. And again, as an ex-pitcher, a guy who talks to a lot of pitchers, I know that in the big leagues, you're just going to have years like that. You're just going to have, since he's really really risen up after being in Cy Young talks in his early years. But he's been a great pitcher from 2022 to now. You're going to have lows. You can't be nails every single year. It happens, right? It's part of the game. And it's something that you have to work through, right? Something you got to work through, especially at this point in his career. So he's been working with really high pitch counts, which has obviously limited his amount that he's able to pitch into games, which for the Diamondbacks is not a good thing, right? Because you're kind of extending your bullpen, which in reality, the Diamondbacks have really struggled with their bullpen. So they've been going to the bullpen a lot earlier than most. So this is where I'm going to split this, right? Before I get there, I'm going to split this into 2 different sections. So he goes out into the 6th inning. His pitch count is in the 80s. Now, he leads off the inning with a walk. And I'm sitting here going, okay, he's at 85 pitches. We're in the 6th. He's been fucking nails through 6, or through 5. He's got to walk. They flash a camera to the bullpen. No one going. Okay, no big deal. I think there's a hit, right? A hit. First and second. Nobody out. Pitch counts now at mid-80s, upper 80s. Look to the bullpen. No one going. Why? Now, all in all, said and done, they load the bases. He walks in a run, some really tough at-bats, great at-bats. And the funny thing is, like, a lot of people on Twitter who don't know ball are like, oh, my God, Gallen's trash. Like, no, these are really tough spots. He shouldn't have been in them. Remember when he should have been pulled out immediately? There should have been someone ready to go. And once he walked that first guy in the 6th, switch it out, right? My thought process going in, I know who the fuck am I to talk about it, right? I'm not Torey Lovello. I'm not a big league manager. But listen, if Zach Gallen is going into this start, and he's been great. He's been phenomenal. He's been pitching well. Everything's working. And he's hitting that high pitch count in the 80s. I would rather pull him. He walks a guy. Let's pull him. Let him leave the game with confidence. Let him leave with some confidence and let it lead into that next start, right? And let the bullpen come in for better or worse, whatever happens. But your starter, who you're going to desperately need down the stretch, can leave the game, lower his stats a little bit, boost the confidence, and let him go into his next start in 5 days with that same confidence that he left, saying, I had that game. I had it. It was good. But on the other hand, this can split 3 different ways. So that's the first one, me personally. I would have pulled him and let him take that confidence into the next start. Next thing, Lovello didn't want to give it to the bullpen. Another thought that, hey, okay, I guess I get it. You'd rather give it to Zach Gallen, who's shown that he's had it, though he hasn't had it this year, but he's that guy in some situations. You'd rather have him beat out of it. Maybe he'll find it, maybe whatever. But again, going off the track record this year, he doesn't have it in those situations. You go to somebody else. And the third thought process I had was the bullpen's going to lose it. The bullpen's going to lose it. I don't want to do it. Whatever. So you have, I should have pulled him early, let him leave with the confidence. And you have the bullpen was going to blow it anyway. And the other one is that he's earned that spot. He deserves to finish out what he started. But again, he has shown us that this year he doesn't have that level of grit in him right now. He is searching for it. Again. So anyway, loads of bases, walks in a run, 1-1 game. Arenado hits a triple, though should have probably been caught by Alec Thomas. He dropped it. It was a great play, hard play to make, and he dropped it in the outfield. Base clearing triple. They pull Gallen, put it in, whatever, lose the game. I thought, okay, this is 100% on Lovello, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt considering there's a lot of variables. So whatever, shit happens. We'll wash it. Fast forward to the next day, right? We're talking about what happened yesterday. Merrill Kelly's on the bump. And this is where I'm kind of like, damn. And again, they haven't been scoring a lot of runs. They'd scored 5 runs in the last 27 innings up to that point. So again, offensive struggles. It's hard to ask a starter to hold a 1-run game against a team that's on a heater. A lot of variables. Going into this, Merrill Kelly throws 6 great innings going into the 7th inning. And Lovello does the same shit. Left him in way too long. Shit hit the fan. They ended up losing the fucking game. Off of a starter who, again, pitched. I don't know if he's boycotting the bullpen. I don't know what's going on, but at this point, this is a managerial problem. And I'm going to be honest. I've liked Torey Lovello. I think he's a great manager. I don't know what's happening at this point for them to not want. Again, I know the bullpen's not great. They just got Martinez back. They have Miller. They've got a couple pieces that are okay. If he's really just boycotting the bullpen at this point, I don't know. But this is 100% a managerial issue because it's not just one time, 2 times. This is rolling. This has been a consistent problem that he's not managing the game efficiently. I don't think that they're going to fire him because, again, the Diamondbacks are, I think, right above 500. It's not panic time yet. There's still a lot of great things happening. I'm praying that they keep the same team because I think if they could hold it together, I think if they can keep it together, there's something good here. I think there is. They're a strong lineup. They can get all their starters going. There's a strong rotation. They just got to maybe fix some bullpen things. But again, these situations right now are 100%, in my opinion, on Lovello. I can't say that they're not. You got to know your pitchers. You got to know the situation. You got to know who they are. Forget what happened last year. Forget what happened in 23. Who these guys are right now, you need to make the adjustments. And I don't think Lavelle is doing that. And I just wanted to voice that out there because it needs to be said. I think those 2 losses yesterday and today, or yesterday and Friday night, are 100% on Lavelle. So throwing that out there. So I don't think the Diamondbacks are in trouble. I think they've got a strong lineup, but there needs to be a tighter leash from Lavelle, and there needs to be more managerial decisions up the stretch. 2 more things I got. We're going to pass this up. So I saw an article that says Ohtani is now delaying his pitching debut until after the All-Star break. There was a lot of talk last time we talked about this that it could possibly be in May, in June. Personally, I thought that because of all the issues with the pitching, that they would rush him back out there. They're not going to do that because he's Shohei Ohtani, right? I mean, clearly, right? So they're not going to rush him back out there. But again, I'm one of those guys who's like, just let the man hit. He's doing legendary shit hitting. Why rush him back to the mound? Why do that? I don't know why this thing is just like hella spinning. No one touches this between podcasts. It's crazy. But yeah, so now they're saying that his pitching return is going to be delayed till after the All-Star break. I think they should delay it indefinitely. Personally, let the man hit. He's a legendary DH at this point, stealing bags at a rate that we've never really seen before from a DH. I think that pitching would just add extra strain, and I don't think that that's something the Dodgers can really afford to do right now. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. They've got a lot of shit going on right now. They're really thin on pitching. The offense is what's really keeping them in ball games. So for them, I think to want to put him back on the mound and jeopardize that stick in the lineup, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't know if that's the right move. Let me see if there's any other information on it. I don't think there is. But I did see that they're going to delay his pitching start till after the All-Star break. Though he is apparently facing batters since 2023. See, he did a simulated game of 2 innings. That's from David Roberts. I don't know. And then David Roberts is over here saying he might go do 5 minor league starts. You're going to Why are you going to lose Shohei Ohtani in your lineup to pitch? They really need him that bad, or should they just focus on getting their guys rehabbed and then putting him back so you don't have to take that break of games without Shohei Ohtani? I don't understand the logic. I get that you paid a lot. I get that you want him on both because you paid him the $700 million because he can do both. But right now, that is a bat in your lineup. You cannot afford to just be like, hey, go pitch somewhere else, and we'll catch you when you're ready again. Because right now they got a big series right now. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. He's worth 700 as a batter alone. Personally, he's worth 700 as a batter alone. Let him rehab all year pitching wise, and let him come next year. Let him return next year if he's ready to pitch next year. Why rush it this year? Just let your guys come back. I know you're in a pickle. I know that you have no pitching, and maybe that's the reason they want him back so bad. I mean, clearly it is. But at the same time, you can't do without his bat. You can't do without him in the lineup. You need him in the lineup. Do not send him to go pitch in triple or double A so that you can have him back. Because the minute he starts pitching, I guarantee you, and I get it's a long season, and he's Shohei Ohtani. He's a freak. I'm not saying that he's going to go start pitching and then completely just fall off the wagon hitting-wise. But you have to think that, and he's done it before, I get it. He did it in Anaheim or in Los Angeles on the other side. I keep calling them the Anaheim Angels for whatever reason. He did it with the Angels. But I don't think that he had the production at the plate that he did while he was pitching. Personally, I don't think he was stealing as many bags, all that, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I personally think that they let him finish the year as a DH and let him come back next year when he's fully ready. He's had all year to recover. He's had year to condition for it. And then you throw him back on the mound and see how it goes. I think that's the move. But to send him, Shohei Ohtani, to play minor league, shut the fuck up. No, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. And of course, we can't go an episode without talking about my Yankees. Got to talk about the Yanks. And what's funny, what's comical, and this is almost like it feels like a joke. It feels like a joke, right? Aaron Judge, as we all know, who's flirting with a 400 batting average, which is like you do shit like that in Major League, and you do that in the show. And you put up video game numbers right now. Yesterday against Colorado, hits his 18th home run. And it feels like, and this is something that I heard Aaron Boone say, but it feels like he's the big kid playing against little leaguers. Like he is just on a new level. It feels like he's just somewhere else, man. He's just not It's crazy. It's honestly nuts watching Aaron Judge do what Aaron Judge has been doing. It's insane. And what's even more funny, and this is like, I don't know if he's clearly not being sarcastic. You don't see Aaron Judge joke around and be sarcastic with the press, but the man is batting .400, leading the league in home runs. And at the end of the game yesterday, he says, "I'm a work in progress." Applaud the humility. By all means, applaud the humility. But he literally said, "I don't feel great at the plate," after his team's 13-1 victory over Colorado. "I'm always a work in progress." So he is nearly hitting the best in the entire league, the best of the world. And he's like, something's wrong. Something don't feel right. I'm still working on it. I don't feel that confident at the plate. I'm just working on some things. My man, you're slashing .395, .485, .759 with 18 home runs and 46 RBIs. He's clearly the front runner for a triple crown, and he is looking to be more comfortable at the plate. And I get it. He's not saying, "I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening." He's saying that I still don't feel 100% at the plate. I feel like I'm missing pitches. I'm not seeing it the greatest, which shows you at this level, at that talent level, he still doesn't feel 100%. He's still working on things. Is incredible. And you applaud the man. You got to applaud the guy for that kind of humility, man. He's like, "I'm still working on it. We're a work in progress. We're still doing it." Expect nothing less from Aaron Judge to say a quote like that. I think it's nuts, but it's crazy. Yes, Aaron Judge is not at his peak yet in the season, and he is just on a completely different level. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. But again, guys, lots of baseball happening this weekend. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be chilling here all day watching ball. Like I said, I have the Orioles and Red Sox on now. I'm gonna be watching the Yankees. I'm gonna catch the Diamondbacks. There's a lot happening today. So if you're chilling this weekend, or if you're chilling this Monday, this holiday when this comes out in August, that I'm recording on a Sunday, catch some ball, dude. This is the time. Holiday weekend. Salute to all our heroes that made Memorial Day a thing, man. Obviously, that's why we're celebrating this day. Don't forget that's why. But watch some ball, man. That's 3-day weekend, hang out by the pool, throw on a baseball game. That's the vibes we're looking for. But once again, guys, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm holding true to my promise, 2 episodes a week. Working on the blog, working on how I'm going to get this newsletter out to you guys. So I'll probably be working on that today too. Lots coming, man. Lots coming. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. I'm testing videos on Twitter, on X. So check that out. I'm always posting on games that I'm watching. So most likely during Yankee games and Diamondbacks game, I'm posting ball. I'm searching through. I'm arguing with people. So be sure to follow me on Twitter. But for sure on TikTok and Instagram, I got all of our clips, all of our little pieces on there. So be sure to follow us on there. And I'm also putting that on YouTube. So obviously like, subscribe, all that stuff on YouTube. If you listen on Spotify, I say it every time. Rate us, share the podcast. That's how we get growth. That's how we get recommended. So for sure, rate us on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate us on there. I really appreciate it. But again, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.